All right. I guess I'll just count down 3, 2, 1, go.
Yeah.
Whew. All right. 3, 2, 1. Go.
All right. So, hello everyone. This is that Nal? No, Nal is not talking. So, currently it is Nal going against Blue. Blue being widely considered to be one of the best Fangame players all around and just in general, and Nal being considered someone who provides great commentary and has been speedrunning this game for like a year, but he is currently not providing commentary because he wants to focus on this run that was originally supposed to be a 3-way race, but unfortunately the third player had to drop. So this is I Want to Be the Destination, a very, very classic fan game by Mr. Carnival, maker of Justice and Crimson and other games of that nature. And they are actually going to be following the same path. So to start out the game, there are 3 different paths you can take that will eventually lead to an avoidance. And you need 4 different items. So all of the 4 secret quote-unquote items are required to reach the first avoidance. So they're going to be following the same path just for ease of being able to follow it on the stream. This one being starting with the top left path. Yeah, Blue's stream is slightly stuttery, but it is good enough.
You can't do everything. Just gotta do the best we can. At least we get to see Blue in action. Stuttery Blue is better than no Blue at all.
Being able to watch Blue stream on Twitch is a very rare occurrence, considering he primarily does YouTube. But he is always a treat to watch.
I'm getting out my notepad, gonna take some notes. Might be a little hard to capture the detailed, godlike movement, though, with the current stuttering, but that's alright. At least it's a glimpse.
This is what it looks like to be a very top player. We'll see how it goes, because right now Nal is actually doing quite well at the platforming. He's only died a few times, and no save has really held him up at all.
Really, you gotta stress the amount of work that Nal has put into this run in the last year. He has been a grind monkey at this thing, going absolutely ham, practicing all the time, doing runs almost non-stop, absolutely determined to get a good time in this game. There was a bit of a funny situation where Nal had wanted to get that sub-1 time in Destination earlier, and he was almost there, had almost achieved his goal, and then Blue came out of nowhere and sniped him on it. And they've kind of gone back and forth a couple of times since then, but usually Nal puts in a lot of work before Blue comes and plays for just a little bit of time and is able to bop him again, so it's been a lot of fun to watch.
Nal never actually quite got the record from Blue. Apparently there's something quite loud that plays him. So the game is a decent chunk louder than it was. It seems like suddenly the game got very loud. But yeah, Nal never could get the record, and he couldn't get the sub-1 first, but his original goal in running it was just, he wanted like a good time, because he saw Blue running it, and he was like, this is a good run, but I think I can beat it. So what he really wanted to do with running the game was get Blue to run it more. That way he could like bring him back to the game. And then eventually it led to, like, he had a goal of getting sub-1, and he wanted to get that before Blue. And then there were issues with that, because Blue ended up returning randomly and getting it in 3 runs when Nal was trying for, like, 9 months. So for context of how good of a player he is. Right now, Nal is still staying ahead. People are saying there might be desync because of the stuttering, but I don't believe that's the case. I can refresh his stream just to be sure on my end. Nope, that does seem to be correct. Blue currently in the first secret, Nal currently on the first boss. The way this boss works is it's got 3 different attacks. It's got red, yellow, well, red, blue, and then 2 colors. And you want to damage the boss when it opens up, and you shoot the cherry inside. So not only is it about timing, but it's also, you need to really aim your shots very well to hit the cherry that's in the middle. And then after you get through the horizontal section, it switches to being vertical, and you shoot at a spike and it goes up at the boss. So that one's more about just mashing as fast as you can when you're able to.
I just want to point out, I don't think I could ever do the mashing. The amount of mashing there is insane. It's like I can't even run Boshi because my mashing is bad. That boss seems pretty insane.
Yeah, it's Nal always talks about how hard it is to get a 3 cycle. And then there's a player, Mr. Lifted Tech, who is pretty well known for being insane at mashing. He has 2 cycled both phases.
Wow.
Yeah.
Lifted showing us up. Jeez. Didn't know Lifted was that good of a masher.
It's pretty insane, yeah.
Respect to Lifted Tech.
So Nal is now working on the second stage going through. Blue at the first boss. You can see he uses mouse strats. By putting his mouse on the screen, he can see where the optimal place to shoot is. Yeah, RNG jump. So on the previous screen, you'll actually see it right now. The first save that was on the screen with the cherry. When you're standing on that gray platform and jumping through like the spike and the cherry, that it's kind of a corner, that is actually needle RNG, as it's known, because platforms will be changing your vertical align every single frame. 50 chance of full jumping through that if you full jump and press left on the same frame. And he got it first try, which is pretty sick. So this stage is a lot about cycles. You'll see resetting at specific points just because that is what they're most comfortable with, and that's what works out to time well. And it's a short stage though, but it is definitely one of the harder ones. That's the one that Nal likes to start his runs with because it's so reset heavy. Alright, so this stage is where the next secret's going to be. It's actually on this next screen. Or, well, no, one screen after. Sorry. And like I said, all of the secrets are required, otherwise you can't actually properly finish the game. Blue is now into the same path. He has finished the first path, and you can see the arrow indicating where the secret is, bonking through the gate, and this is a very long save. So you need to travel all the way to the right. There's a spike wall chasing you. And once you reach the right side, we're going to have a wonderful backtrack. It's not super hard, but the harder stuff is near the end of it. So there's always a high possibility that things will go wrong. I've seen far too many runs die to this backtrack. Now getting through all the hard jumps. He's just got one F jump. Alright, that seems like probably a first try secret. If he dies now, that would be extremely unfortunate. But it has happened before, I believe. Alright, there we go. Naloa's having a pretty solid run. And as an aside, this secret is actually what makes doing this game on Impossible literally impossible to do. Because when you do this secret, you shoot the button, it opens a floor block, and when you actually go through the secret, that floor block will still be gone, and it's not actually possible to get on with the game after getting the secret because of that. Okay, we got a little bit of a spike corridor, RNG spikes flying from the left, different heights, different speeds, and you just gotta run to the right and react to everything, try to keep track of where everything is as it's going. Now getting some pretty solid RNG. And now we are at the Love Trap boss.
Alright, I'm back from cropping the stream and making it look okay.
Nice.
So yeah, now at the boss, huh? Now keeping a bit of a lead here over Blue. It's pretty surprising.
Yep, Naloa's having quite a solid run.
Dude, I love this boss, by the way. This song is so good.
Yeah, this boss is a reference to I Want to Be the Love Trap, which has a very similar idea with a slightly less jokey version of the song. The song being Sakuranbo Kiss. And the way this works is every single time you shoot the boss, it'll shoot out a cherry. And you can see the cherries are changing. So part 1 is shooting red cherries, they're small. Part 2 is shooting small green cherries, and those will actually block your bullets. So he has to avoid shooting when there are green ones in front, because otherwise he can't damage the boss. And then there's the large pink cherries, which behave more like the red ones where you can shoot through them, but they're large. That is the 3rd section. And then the 4th section is the gray cherries now, which is obviously a combination between the pink and the green. So it is large cherries that you can't shoot through, which makes it very hard to damage the boss. The real goal is to go for 3 shots when you can. And right now he's getting pretty consistent 2 shots, hasn't really had to slow down. Which is, oh, he just got a 3 there.
Yeah, that was a 3 shot. It gets scary here, this part of the boss, because there's so much stuff cluttering the screen, and trying to stay alive and do damage just becomes so much harder.
Yeah, that was insanely good RNG. So he pushes himself to the left there before getting the final shots, that way he can be as far away from the circle that comes. But that was a super solid boss fight. Now tearing it up right now.
He has been very determined to have the run of his life today, and so far looking really good.
The best part is, he has no idea how far ahead or behind he is, because he is, they are both muted and deafened and not watching anything. So neither one has any idea who is in the lead currently. They can't hear us, we can't hear them. Well, we could if we want to.
Thing is, like many difficult fan game speedruns, a lot of this is going to come down to the later bosses, which are very difficult. I Want to Be the Destination is a difficult game. It's older, it's been around for a long time, and as good as a lot of fan game players have gotten over the years, this game still holds up in terms of difficulty. I'm always impressed at Nal's ability to do some of the later avoidances and boss fights, and that's the one area where Blue especially shines. And so if we're going to see a comeback, it's likely going to happen later on.
Yeah, both of them are actually really solid at the bosses in this. Nal actually considers himself to be a bit better at the final boss. Blue definitely being better at the Len avoidance, which is a strong run killer, because, you know, a 3.5 minute avoidance, that's difficult and can screw you late in. Always going to be bad for a run. So we'll
also,
see
bananas.
if he keeps his pace. Yes, bananas as well.
I love bananas. Especially with Leb. Let's go. Or Len.
Bananas would
Sorry.
Probably be a good thing to have right now. Get some, get your system going a little bit.
You know, I really like this tile set that Nal's on. It's like super simple, but it looks good.
Yeah, it's always been a nice one. Simple tiles I've always been a big fan of. So this is another stage that's kind of cycle-based. The goal is to get through everything. You're going to grab a key, and then you're going to do another backtrack. Carnival loves his backtracks. And here's a wacky obstacle where the red lines kill you, as Nal so graciously demonstrated. So you have to jump through it in the middle of the cycle. And you can really see what it's like when you put in a ton of time into speedrunning, because Nal has put so much time into this. Blue, it's hard to say if he's put in more or less time, because he's just such a naturally good player. He probably doesn't even need to practice nearly as much.
I've always been a little afraid of playing this game, in part because of things like the red lines that kill you here. It looks kind of terrifying to me. I'm sure you can get it down with practice, but man.
Blue now into the RNG corridor. Oh, he took a death, unfortunately. Hopefully the second one goes a bit better for him. Alright, Blue is, oh.
Wow, I'm almost surprised he went for that save.
Yeah.
That was scary.
Those spikes were not wanting him to go up and save, but he went for it.
What a boss. And by that, I mean Blue. Though, this boss is also a boss.
It sure is a boss. There's just no denying that.
Soupy, soupy, soupy.
So Nal is getting to the end of the key backtrack for the third stage. He's going to open the door and then immediately go up to where the arrow is in the top right, which will take him to the secret. This being personally what I would consider to be the hardest secret from just looking at it. Because it's pretty long, and then it's got 2 hard jumps at the end. So you need to run to the right.
That drop gate does not look friendly.
Nope. There's a few really tough jumps in it, the drop gate being one of them. So you run to the right, go near the thing, it runs away, goes back to the left, then you go near that, it goes back to the right. You go near that, and hey, guess what happens? Back to the left. And then once you go to the left, that is... Oh, first trying the heart diagonal. Will he get the frame perfect jump? He did.
God gamer. Frame perfect jumps under pressure.
And a diagonal, which he grabs on a line for just to be safe. Gotta love that. And he is out of the secret. That was, what, 1 death? 2 deaths? It was pretty solid.
That was definitely pretty solid. Dang, so now a full area ahead of Blue here.
Ooh, Blue getting a wall that he had to jump over to deal with that circle. So this is the umbrella boss. Each umbrella appears after a certain amount of HP. They do different things. Blue being a spiral, green being a circle that targets you, yellow being RNG rain, and red being cherries from the right side. And then the 5th one is going to be a gray umbrella, which spawns that wall, which you cannot shoot through. So the goal is to do as much damage as you can underneath the wall before it comes out, and then get your shots through the wall as it's breaking up to hit the boss. Sometimes he'll try and push underneath so that he can not deal with the second wall just for time. I don't know if he got bad RNG there, or if he just completely ignored doing that because, you know, it's a good run. Alright, so there, that last cherry. He had 3 of the 4 items, and you can see there's a yellow one. His mouse cursor was not actually visible on the stream, but he puts his mouse on there during the previous boss, just to ready himself, and then he clicks that right before entering. So that's how you get that last item, is you click it. So now into Luca, the first avoidance. This song, moderately a banger. I believe the song is called Hate, or Hatred, or something along those lines.
I can't believe you used the word moderately there when it is clearly a banger. Disagree with you there, Wolsk. So what attacks during this fight are like scary?
It's a pretty reasonable avoidance in general. I
have seen like a handful of Nails runs die here. And I know that it can be kind of mean sometimes.
Yeah, I'll point out the ones that are like occasionally issues when we get there, but like the start is very consistent. Blue onto the third area, he's going through the thing, then has to deal with the backtrack. Now pretty solidly ahead right now. So we'll just hope that his avoidance game is on point, and he is probably incredibly nervous, if I were to guess. Alright, so this attack is one of the problems. This line, because you're dealing with bouncing stuff as you're moving across with the line. And then the cherries are going to spaz out and then blast outwards, so you have to be in a good spot. That is the hard attack in this avoidance.
It's like the scary combination that always exists with avoidances when you combine pattern or aimed with RNG, because you can run out of space.
Yep. And that's not to mention the 9 platform layout, the dreaded 9 platform layout with bouncing, which is disgusting, personally.
I have words for whoever decided that this was like a good layout to just like mass produce for avoidances. You always have such trouble like having space to jump because they suck away your vertical movement so much. Even though you can get up and down pretty easily with it, there's so little space between platforms.
It originated from I Want to Be the Love Trap, the original Miku avoidance, and then just everyone decided, hey, I'm going to copy that because it was the first. Oh, now getting the RNG that lets him be right by the foot, just hanging next to Luca's foot like he loves to.
By the way, I saw in chat, people were asking if the stream for Blue is possibly delayed at this point because of the stuttering. I just checked again, refreshed this stream on my end, and it still looks like it is current. I think Blue is just that behind at the moment.
Yeah, Blue's just having a rough time, and Nal is having basically the run of his life.
It's a hard run, though. You never know. Comebacks are always possible here.
Yeah.
By the way, Sour, please, I absolutely love this area and the music. Shoutouts to Super Mario RPG.
I'll say this for Nal because he's not here to say it. He loves his setup for that bonking and then jumping. There you go. You're welcome, Nal. So the previous screen of this, we were actually talking while it happened, but there was a skip that he did that's really hard to explain. Basically, there's a trigger, and he just double jumped over the trigger to make it so he avoided it and didn't have to deal with a block disappearing at the end of the screen. So it was a pretty simple skip that just makes one jump a little bit easier. But if you're not paying attention, it is very easy to miss.
I love these little triggers. They're pretty funny.
Mm-hmm.
Carnival's got a good style.
Carnival's really good at making good trigger platforming. I like my favorite game from him is Justice, for sure.
Is that like a nerf for Keto Jump that I just saw? Kinda. Very, very, very nerfed, though.
I mean, it's got the benefit of, like, you just do a small jump to start it, rather than dipping in between spikes, really.
Yeah. Blue doing that tough secret backtracking.
So this right here, the spikes go invisible. You can see a spike moves in the corridor right above that. That actually indicates that the invisible spikes are changed because it's flipped from the corridor that's above that. So now doing that first try, pretty sick. It ends with a half diamond, actually. So, got that first try. Now we're into the snow area, one of the shortest areas in the game, with an absolutely banger song.
So unfortunate that it's so short for that reason.
So we're just going to hope that Nal takes a bit longer on this area just so we can enjoy the music for a bit longer.
Anybody else, whenever you get to an area of platforming in Fangames with a snow tile set, just make you want to get some hot chocolate and curl up next to the fire with a blanket on and chill. Because, like, that's what it always reminds me of. It's like such a cozy, comfortable winter feeling.
Yeah, I agree. Even like when it's really simple like this, where it's just a solid blue background and then brown blocks with white snow, it's like, it still just feels nice. Alright, so blue is onto the last section of the third boss. He's going to push himself underneath because he was able to get right up next to it, but that was still a 3 cycle on the wall, a little bit slow, but he is past it, which means he's heading on the Luca. Again, if you see, he is going to click the yellow cherry. Mouse cursor is probably going to appear on stream. There you go. Perfect. Now into the castle area. Pretty decent snow. The only real problem was the first save, which is often a problem in general.
I like castles. Castles are cool.
Yeah, I like castles when they don't have this like piercing red tile.
Yeah, that does tend to be an issue.
I really want to do a visual mod of this game that like desaturates all of the like hyper red stuff, because my god, it is painful.
Yeah, we have one of those really red areas coming up later too, and that's always fun.
Mm-hmm. In fact, so speaking of mod, we didn't mention this, but Blue is running on the original version, Nal is running on a modded one that makes it so there's no restarting music. The game normally has restarting music, but just because it sucks, it has been modded so that Nal can enjoy the music a bit more, which probably makes the run more enjoyable. Alright, so the last jump...
Tricky jump here. Oh, that wasn't even bad. Let's go now.
Yeah, that is the quote-unquote nerf double diamond that is essentially exactly the same as a double diamond, but allows you to do it in like one other way. It is the weirdest nerf, and I've never understood it because it's like the exact same jump.
Yeah, for the boss that, well, I think this might be the reason that I'm afraid to play this game ever. It gives me anxiety, scares the crap out of me.
Yep, welcome to Heaven, Trap. The way it works is every single time you shoot the boss, it'll do an attack, and then eventually it switches to every time you shoot the boss, it'll do 2 attacks at once. The ones you really don't want to see are red, and you don't want to see bad RNG from pink. Outside of that, it's mostly pretty fine for the starting bit. Because red is targeting, and targeting plus RNG, as we have established, is impossible. You have to make sure to shoot the eyes. So after some point, you will see bullets start firing out from the kid pretty soon. And at that point, that is when things will change. So Nal is going to be specifically trying to be falling right in front of the bullet as he shoots to give himself the most amount of space to dodge the next thing. Also, quick aside, Blue currently on the end of Luca, first trying that, staying by her feet as well, getting good RNG for that. He is on to the next area. But this is where the hard part begins for Heaven Trap, because now you can see no longer shooting when he shoots. He is going to time it, because now it's going to keep firing attacks regardless of how much damage he does, and he wants to make sure he has the most amount of space he can. Right now getting really good RNG. Oh my god.
Ooh, let's
that
go.
Was very free.
That boss, I have seen so many runs die just because you get a bad setup, or it's so easy to misjudge some of those attacks too, and just barely, make the wrong move or the wrong decision, and you don't have a lot of like wiggle room much of the time. So
absolutely, yeah. If you get a red targeting with RNG, like I mentioned, and the bullet's just in a not good space, it's just really hard to even find a gap if there is one that you can get to. So now the ever famous anti-jump canceller gang doing that by dipping in between the spike.
Now deciding to be honorable, not cheat.
I don't know exactly what kind of pace Nal is on, but I would say there is a high possibility this is PB pace.
It's here in under 30 minutes, but I don't really know what that means. I'd have to have his splits pulled up. I don't know if anyone in chat has an idea.
I know.
Seems like
I
a
know
pretty sick run, though.
I know his PB about at Len, which is like in 2 more stages. So beyond that,
dude, what the heck? Look, he just got through those corners so fast.
Yep, there is a nice setup for that one, and there's a lot of corners in the stage. This is the Crimson stage. It's got the insane needle with corners and diagonals and gates, because boy is this game dated in that regard.
I see nothing wrong with that. Generic jumps for life. I'm an old school fan gamer, okay?
At that halftime, it was giving Nal a little bit of trouble. So that like diagonal section at the end, Nal and Blue actually do those completely differently, but both in similar ways. Yeah, this red is physically painful. But yeah, so with those diagonals, there's what's known as the 2-block trick, where because of V-strings and magic in Fangames, you're able to hold against the block and you can fall through the diagonal on certain speeds. So like 2 blocks, 4 blocks, 7 blocks, 9 blocks. And what Nal does is he treats the first diagonal normally, second one is a 2-block, or no, second one's a 4-block, and then the third one is a 7-block, so he can just hold against the walls after doing the first one.
I was wondering about his strat there. That makes a lot of sense now that you've explained it that way.
Yeah, Blue will actually do it differently, and I believe he just full jumps, which gets him through the first diagonal.
Oh yeah, the 1-block trick.
Yeah, either that or he climbs up, and then treats the first one like a 2-block, second one like a 4-block, and then the last one, God, I don't even remember. We'll have to say it when he gets there, but he does it differently.
Is 69 block trick a thing? I just gotta ask.
It is, in fact, a thing.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Nice.
Kanata figured out the math, and theoretically a 69 block trick works. I believe someone actually made that. 420 block trick should work, and a 69 420 block trick would actually, in theory, work.
Tell me that is not an accident. There's no way, right? There's no way.
Ooh, first trying the double diagonals at the end of that save. That is a hard one.
And Nal's still cruising. Really impressed by how he's playing.
He's having probably what you would consider to be a pretty okay Crimson.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Like, no save has gone particularly badly, but no save has gone like particularly amazingly. It's all been pretty average. But we'll see, because the save is coming up.
This the one with the drop at the bottom left.
It sure is.
Ah, yeah, that drop looks nasty, but Nal's pretty good at it. We'll see what he can do.
So because Nal is part of the hashtag anti-jump cancel gang, what you can actually do for this bottom thing is full jump and then do a cancel through that gate with a 1 frame. Nal opts to go for, I believe, a 4 or 5 frame over the spike, and then a 3 frame dipping into the gap to get through the gate. So Nal is going to be doing it that way, which is definitely a harder way to do it.
Don't do this at home, kids. Use jump cancels.
Just use jump cancels.
Yeah.
Well, that was pretty good.
Sure was.
Nal is pogging out of his mind. Ow, that is never not painful.
Oh
my god.
I'll admit it, I kind of looked over to blue screen for that transition.
God, I wasn't even thinking, but yeah, no, that is...
Wait, is blue screen blue, or is the other blue screen?
Yeah, if you're rooting for Nal, it's Team Blue, and if you're voting for Blue, it's going to be Team Red.
Not confusing at all. I forget, is the water in this area, is it,
Necron.
It's Necron water.
Yeah.
In other words, it's absolutely gross, and yeah, another reason this game needs to be modded, in my opinion.
So to explain what Necron water is, standard water, when you do, you know, a 5-frame jump, you hold the jump button for 5 frames. You will do that. In Necron water, if you are there and you do a 5-frame, it will actually do a 4-frame jump. So you will be losing out on a frame for every jump you do, because it just kicks in a little bit later on your jumps. So some people get used to that. Nal has been playing this so long, he basically doesn't even notice. I find it awful, much like Cake. But this also has the strange and unfortunate side effect where, in addition to just being 1 frame less, if you do a 1-frame jump, the lowest thing you can do for pressing the shift key, it will essentially become a 0 frame. The game will momentarily get confused and then force a full jump because it doesn't realize that you actually released the shift key at all.
It's helpful for players who have terrible keyboards, because then it's impossible to ever do that. But if you have a keyboard that's good at low hopping, short hopping, whatever, or if you ever use jump cancels, then your advantage just goes out the window because you can accidentally just full jump all the time.
Yep. So
also, missed the joke, man. Last screen. I can't believe this game stole that from Camellia 2. Just absolutely not cool.
Cake, how could you?
Just not cool, man.
Cake, how could you?
I had to.
Nal is going to be upset when he finds out you did that.
That's okay. Now's having a great run. I'm sure he'll be fine.
So this save is actually sick. It is set up very well for the cycle. Man, Blue really struggled on that double diamond. That's what I mean by it's essentially not nerfed. Like, you could see just how much he was struggling with it. It's essentially no different from a double diamond. But Nal is on to... Oh my god, is this going to be like 37 minutes to Len? Oh boy. Oh boy, that is really good.
What's his PB there? You said you knew his time before.
It's like a 38:40 or something.
He's like a minute ahead. Or 2 minutes ahead even. Dang,
so
what a boss.
Good, really good to Len is sub 40. He is 3 minutes under that.
But this boss is not an easy boss. We'll see how this goes. Bananas!
Everyone, please spam your bananas in the chat.
Get your love for bananas, everybody, because this is the boss where we celebrate the bananas.
We are going to pray that Len is kind. You can see that it has targeting and RNG, as we mentioned, the dreaded combination. And, does the targeting RNG stuff get really gross? Specifically on the last, 3 attacks. Thank you for the bananas, everyone. So this is gray. It'll come out with some cherries, and then they will explode, and you have to find the gap as fast as possible. Gray 1, not too bad. Gray 2 is the one you have to worry about. The second time The second time you see gray is when you really want to worry, because it has a lot more cherries, and it's a lot harder to find a gap. And then there is orange, which is essentially the final, even though there is a final after that. It's pretty non-existent. And that
like
one
the
is
finals before the finals.
Yeah, exactly. It's like lunar magic, where you have the circle at the end, but it's that's not really the final.
Shoutouts to Wolfie Lunar Magic strats for the final attack. Jumping up in front of Miku. I haven't been watching Blue Screen too much in the last little bit. Has he had any trouble with this Heaven Trap boss?
I have also oh my god, that gray one.
Gray
I have also
tough.
been watching now primarily, but I think Blue died once on Heaven Trap so far.
Watching Nal play this boss always easily demonstrates to me that he is much better than me at avoidance. I'm pretty sure I would die a lot more often.
Yeah, he is a pretty solid avoidance player. He has always been better than me at avoidance, for as long as I can remember. Ooh. That was a sketchy decision.
That banana wanted him.
Real quick, Blue is onto the bullets section when you shoot and nothing happens, which means he's preparing for when it will just go non-stop. We got Gray 2. Prey.
Oh no!
He just jumped a little bit too early on that one. He could have made it through that with his read, but he just jumped wrong. Really unfortunate.
That's the worst, is when you make like the correct decision, but the wrong mechanical input.
So this is
Blue gonna clean this up.
Oh, yep, Blue is done with Heaven Trap.
The stuttering on Blue's screen is like terrifying me whenever I see like a lot of apples go towards him. I'm like, is he gonna make the correct read? I'll find out in like 5 seconds.
Yeah, the pink section was getting like pretty dicey at the end there if he had stayed on the right. I couldn't tell if he was going to the left fast enough.
Yeah. Watching that spike chase right now too is going to give me similar feelings.
So this is why this run is moderately terrifying, and you can never really feel safe regardless of what pace you're on. Because suddenly, just like that, 4 minutes are gone. And he has not even reached what is the most questionable attack. Oh, now.
This could be difficult for him at this point. I know, as just speaking from experience as a speedrunner of Fangames with difficult avoidances, nothing quite like Len here, but you know, things in Camellia 3 and whatnot. When you start to have deaths to avoidances in a run, it's really easy to just get stuck. It's like the hardest thing in the world to pick yourself back up when you lose momentum. Momentum is everything in this, because tilt is a very real thing. I don't know how Nal is with tilt. So sometimes I think I've seen him deal with it pretty well, so it kind of depends on his mental state right now. Hopefully he can recover, because this can get frustrating pretty fast if you get stuck on a boss for this long.
Well, I will say not being able to tell where Blue is probably plays like a pretty big impact on how he's handling this mentally, because he could think right now that Blue is way ahead because of his deaths.
Yeah, imagine if he was watching Blue's screen right now, he would probably feel a lot better about his current situation.
Now deals with tilt generally well, but sometimes, you know, no one is immune, essentially. So he is just doing what he can, and hopefully he can make it past where his furthest was, make it past Gray 2, because it is definitely the feeling of being locked, where you just start to get in your own head if you can't get past a certain point.
Blue kind of having trouble with a jump here that I wouldn't expect him to have too much trouble with. A little surprising to me.
Yeah, Blue's platforming is a little off today. Hopefully his avoidance game is on point, as it generally is, because he's considered a very well-rounded player, but his platforming is just not holding up. Nal been having just amazing playing on both accounts until this avoidance, which is, you know, expected with this avoidance. Alright, so you could see what Blue did right there for the diagonals. He treated the first one like a 4 block, the second one like a 7, and then he jumps before the last diagonal, so he climbs up. So there's the difference.
Imagine using different strats. Do you know if Blue uses jump cancels? I actually haven't been looking very closely.
He does.
Okay. So Blue's a cheater? Confirmed?
Yep, Blue's
wow.
a cheater.
Unbelievable.
So you'll actually be able to see him do the save differently.
Never meet your heroes, folks.
I think one of the hardest things about Len as an avoidance in a run is it's one of those avoidances that it doesn't feel very much like it progresses. Like, the feeling of getting further in an avoidance is not an insignificant thing. And when you have an avoidance that so many of the attacks just, like, feel the same because it repeats them, it doesn't, like, give you the same feeling. Nice, that was pretty good. Great, too. And hope that cherry goes away. Alright, yep. So that was pretty free, Blue. His tapping seems a little too fast right now. Hopefully he can slow it down enough.
Imagine the nerves.
Okay, he's doing fine. We are approaching final.
It's always scary.
Bananas now. And
Bananas, please be nice.
Then comes orange, which is terrifying. So you have the RNG orange from the top, you have the targeting orange on the bottom, and you want to jump over them. They explode and target you, and you're going left and right, dealing with the RNG ones as you're dealing with the targeting. As mentioned, the dreaded combination, and Nal got through it. Right through
buddy.
that, and now the final pattern, which is, as I mentioned, the free section.
Important to not overthink the simplicity of the patterns in these kinds of situations.
Alright, Blue is out of Len. He is Blue. Nal is out of Len. Blue is out
Blue
of
is
Red.
into Blue. Blue is now Blue, everybody, so the confusion can end. Hopefully that's
I
cleared
didn't
up.
even get the comment on the save because he did it so quickly. We're focusing on Nal. Well, for anyone who was watching that, I'm sure he did it that way, so...
Red is out of Len.
So we're getting really close to the final section of the run. It's got a very short stage once he reaches this warp. It is the black and white stage, the Bad Apple stage that does not have Bad Apple music, which is essentially a sin in the Fangame community.
I actually can't believe, now that you've mentioned that, I just realized that you are correct.
So really quick aside, Nal right there, you could see he did not take the save. And I'd like to make that very clear that means that he is confident right now. Because Nal has like two states, which is if he is nervous about the run, he will take that save absolutely. And if he feels like either the run doesn't really matter or he is confident in how he's playing, then he will just not take the save. That being said, this first block jump, kind of having a rough time on it.
Okay, so wait, is there another save coming up before there's somewhere where he can actually die? Because my understanding is these screens right here, it's just block platforming.
Yeah, he can't die on this. There will be a save before, like, the spikes. But the thing is, like, if you fall down, then you have to walk all the way back.
Ah.
So that would be where a save would be good,
reload.
because you can just reset.
That makes sense.
Because if he falls here, he has to walk back 2 screens to get to it.
I would never want to... Oh, frick. He was doing those ledge, like, jumping from in between 2 vertical blocks, like, without stopping and setting them up. I would never want to do that here. I always set up those kinds of jumps. Nal's got guts.
Blue is going to be approaching Len soon. Nal finally out of the block section. That did not go particularly well for him.
Reminder, the F jumps are the hardest jumps.
That is true. So this is the banger song stage. Pepe's Sad Jam. So the final stage of platforming in the game. It's definitely the hardest in terms of like some of the jumps you have to do. And it's got some triggers here and there. Some people consider it to be like kind of anticlimactic for a song for the final stage because it's rather than being like intense. It's kind of melancholy. And I personally think it's like kind of nice. It's gives good feelings in the final stage.
I think it's
journey
nice
come to an end.
because the final boss is so freaking intense that, you got to let yourself rest a little bit before. This is the calm before the storm.
So this save is in particular is kind of upsetting because the hardest jump is the last one and it is very precise. Like you could see just how close he got to that spike for the re-jump. That is a very, very precise jump.
Imagine designing Needle where the last jump isn't the hardest jump at the end of a long, long save.
So this is also one of the harder saves in the game. First jump now is treating like a 2-frame, and then he has to do some really weird jump height for the ending part. It's a really rough one.
That's to the raised double jump diamonds like that at the end, even though it's a half diamond, being absolutely evil.
Mm-hmm.
Making quick work of that, though.
Yeah, that was a pretty solid. Not too fast, not too slow. Just decent.
Now my very favorite, whatever this is, fire or something kind of sprite work. It's pretty gorgeous.
Yeah, it's the fire bars from that are in I Want to Be the Guy but turned black.
That's artistic skill if I've ever seen it.
Alright, so quickly to draw attention back to Blue, he should be on Gray 2 in a second. He's on the bananas right before Gray 2. But also Nal is going to be doing a skip here with save jumping. Oh, well, on the next save you'll see him do a save jump skip, but I recommend taking a look at Blue for now just to see how this goes. That was nasty. Blue showing that he is one of the avoidance gods and getting through that anyway.
I raised my hand. I would have been one of the people who died right there. I don't know if anybody else in chat's with me.
So let's see if Blue can finish up Len. It's the bananas, then final, and then final. Side note, Sunspike over on Nell's screen. There's a screen that's in Sunspike. Sunspike is essentially a medley game.
Wait, is it actually?
Yep. It's
I
changed,
never
but-
knew that.
Yeah, dude.
What the heck? Okay, mind blown.
Sunspike also has a screen from Venus.
Wow, I can't believe this whole time I thought Sunspike was something original. Now it will forever be ruined for me.
And by ruined, you mean made better because you love medley games.
Yes. And I mean, I can't believe Destination would steal a screen from Sunspike. How dare they do that?
Well, Blue got through orange. That was like really clean. No rough dodges or anything.
So I can definitely see now that after Nal got kind of stuck on that. It's actually amazing that Nal is still this ahead after having that much trouble with Len and Blue making quick work of it, but still... This is towards the end of this stage for Nal, isn't it? Like, Blue has quite a ways to go to catch up still.
Yeah, Nal still has, I believe, one more screen after this. Well, technically, like 4 more screens, but like 1 more screen that matters. And once he is through that, he has the final boss, which is, for those who don't know, a 6+ minute fight. So just looking at the timer, you can see he's at about 54 minutes. So there is not a chance of sub 1 at this point, but he could do pretty dang close. Sub 1, of course, being the goal that Nal originally set out for once he wanted to get Blue to return.
Is that jump at the very end of the screen? It always looks so weird to me. Like, I can't tell if it's actually super hard or not.
The final jump, it's kind of rough.
Whenever you start to put spikes in like crazy geometry like that, I'm like, I don't know what that's like unless I were to actually go and do it myself a few times.
So this, of course, these gates, Nal would tell you they're easier than normal gates. Those would be the words that he would be saying right now. I'll just say it for him.
That's what I'm getting right now. It looks like they're pretty free.
But keep in mind, this is Nekor on water. And Nal's just a weirdo.
That's definitely true.
So Blue, you can see he is doing the dirty deed of jump canceling, and Nal, who would go over the top of the shuriken, Blue actually goes underneath by one framing. So he cancels underneath that. Oh, Blue making quick work of that jump. Alright, well, Nal is onto the last quote-unquote bit of platforming. And he first tried the diamond.
Now for the hardest part, this little jump. Oh, didn't even make it look hard this time.
It's final boss time, everyone. If you struggle from having your eyes bleed from rapid color changing, or just painful color changing, then we'll just dictate to you what's happening. Because boy, does it hurt my eyes, personally.
I like how I kind of got used to it, because I've played so much of Destination in various fan games. But yeah, it's a rough look at first, especially.
So this is a very long avoidancy type boss, as I mentioned. It's 6 minutes long. It has 4 different attacks, and they have different sets of attacks. So Blue has this set of circles with falling cherries, followed by what you'll see later, which is targeting plus RNG, as we love. Actually, this is targeting plus RNG as well. This avoidance boss
I think most of the attacks have an element of that in them, which is one reason actually, and because with Destination, this boss, the fact that it doesn't usually cluster up too much, it actually makes it really fun because it forces you to move around the screen quite often in order to avoid the stuff that's aimed at you. But then you also have enough breathing room to usually make good decisions and good dodges to stay alive. Emphasis on usually, because sometimes it gets really nasty.
Yeah, every part of this is targeting plus RNG minus purple 2. So it's a very hard boss because of that, but also because of the length. So the harder stuff is actually the set of attacks that are 2, because like I mentioned, each color has 2 different attacks it can do. And once the boss reaches half HP on those colors, you can see their individual health bars, then it'll transition.
Yeah, purple one is not RNG either. It's just more pattern and aimed. But
True.
You kind of treat it like that though, because the way that I look at it and read it as I play, I usually don't have like any kind of specific pattern-based movement. I kind of just read the spiral and react to it as I go, as I'm stuttering from left to right and vice versa.
Me too. It's always easier to treat stuff as barrage and random than it is to treat things that are pattern as a pattern a lot of the time.
Hey, Wolsk, I have an important question for you. How do you feel about the spotlight mechanic or gimmick that is over on Blue's screen right now?
It really depends on who's designing with it. Like, I mean, at this point, with how much I've seen Destination, the spotlight would not bother me at all because I would already know what all the sections are. But, like, I have had too many parts where I see spotlight and it's just, like, awful. So,
I'm disappointed in your nuanced answer. I was just hoping for awful, so I could just say I agree.
Well, basically what I'm saying is I don't like it, but it's tolerable if you already know what you're doing.
That's fair.
I prefer reverse spotlight, personally, when you have a big black circle around you and you have to, like, keep track of where the kid is within it.
It's always interesting, for sure. So, of these first 4 attacks here, the phase 1 of blue, yellow, purple, and red, I tend to find that yellow and red are definitely the hardest and blue and purple are generally pretty free.
Ooh.
That was a nasty little pattern.
Well, blue's on the final boss. Well, it is all down to the final boss, as we know. As we love to see. Yeah, blue had a really, really solid final stage. Catching up there. So the hard attacks in Destination final boss, I would say, would be yellow 2, blue 2. And then purple 2 can occasionally be kind of unfortunate. And then red 1 occasionally can be as well. But yellow 2 and purple 2 are the ones you really have to watch, or yellow 2 and blue 2 are the ones you really have to watch out for. So yellow 1, it's got the circles that are targeting you. So you try to bait the bouncing ones into certain areas as the things fall from the top. So you can see moving back and forth to get the yellow to go to certain places. And yellow 2 is going to be very much the same, except when the cherries collide with the walls, they will explode outwards. Alright, so blue 2, as I mentioned, one of the ones to really watch out for. You have the cherries coming from the top that explode, and those fall straight downwards, and they target you. Then you've got cherries moving left and right across the screen. So the real problem with this one is that you have to worry about the spike coming along the floor, forcing you to jump. Because ideally you want to not jump as much as you can for that. The spike will force you to do it.
Yeah, the spike actually can catch you off guard in this fight many times. I've had many a death in speedrun situations too. Destination spike just getting in my way at just the wrong time and me not reacting to it fast enough.
Red is dead, blue seems like it is barely clinging on. And blue is out of there.
It's got to be a sigh of relief. Yellow 2 is nasty.
Ooh. He was really late on reacting to that one. Hey, what was that, Cake?
Just saying that I would say that the hardest attack is out of the way with blue 2. And yellow 2 is definitely up there in difficulty, though, so he's not out of the woods yet. He's got to be very careful here. The stress can definitely build up at this point because you feel the pressure. You know that you're past the hardest part. All you got to do is not choke. But yellow is definitely scary.
Is your main knowledge of yellow 2 from K3?
Most of it, yes. But I have played the practice tool for this version of the fight because Nal taught me his strat.
Okay. Because I was going to say this is actually different from that version a bit. It is harder. Because in K3 it shoots out fewer cherries that explode outwards. So this one actually has a lot more RNG going around, and that was like really easy.
Very tame. Oh no!
Oh.
No!
Like I said, purple 2 can be really unfortunate sometimes.
It can. It's rough because purple 2 most of the time is completely free, but then just once in a while you just get the smallest gaps, and you have to wonder if you would have had an extra half second to look at that. Could you have made a better decision? And sometimes the answer is just who knows.
The right call there probably would have been to run past the spike and go underneath it to the right, but you know, in the heat of the moment, it is so difficult to even make these decisions. Like, it's easy from a viewer's perspective to say what you could have done, what you should have done, but you just expect gaps in a certain place, and if you don't get it, then it's always going to be rough.
It's kind of interesting because as you play a lot of these kinds of bosses over the years and gain experience, you kind of get used to certain tendencies in how you make your decisions. You kind of like preemptively decide where you're going to go, and most of the time it works, but then just once in a while you can kind of end up putting yourself into a bad place because of that, and you're not reacting quite as soon as you could have, maybe if you were being more open-minded about it from the start.
Well, let's quickly shift focus to blue.
Yeah, blue is in the lead. I mean, this is now blue's game to lose.
Just like that, both of them at the final boss, one death laid in, and then suddenly other person takes the lead, and that is just how Destination goes, unfortunately.
Yeah, so blue got red 2 going. Shouldn't be a problem, but we do have blue 2 and yellow 2 on the table here. So the scariest attacks of the fight.
Yep, purple 2 being the only one that's done.
I've been looking forward to these blue dodges on blue 2 all day, so hopefully we see some cool stuff.
Alright, yellow 2. Let's see how friendly this is. This is essentially blue's kryptonite is yellow 2. I have seen him die far too many times to this attack. Oh, another really easy yellow. Ooh, this blue is looking rough. Oh my god.
You never like it when blue kind of covers the floor with a whole bunch of horizontal cherries and you have to be hopscotching your way across the screen to stay alive.
Oh, blue couldn't decide if he could go under that or not, so he was moderately panicking. I'm sure you can tell he's nervous. Oh.
I'm nervous.
Got 2 yellows in a row. He's reading this very well right now, but ooh, that was getting kind of dicey. But he is, at this point, essentially done. Like, red only has a couple hits left, yellow has 1 hit, blue has a couple, and then we have the final phase.
Yeah, generally when there's not much HP left on these phases, they're pretty easy to clean up, but sometimes the transitions can still be scary if you're not expecting them. You gotta be careful here with when you get the final hit as we transition into the final phase of the fight. The spike speeds up, and it can catch you off guard.
So right now we're in white phase, aka the choke phase. It can be incredibly nasty, and other times completely free, but it's mostly about just reading it well, making sure you find the gaps, avoiding all clusters, and not getting anything particularly hard on blue's end, so that's it.
Unbelievable.
Blue has stolen the victory after Nal was so far ahead up until the Len.
So
Really unfortunate to see.
Looking at the timer there, that was about a 107 flat. I'm going to keep the timer going for seeing if we can get Nal to finish here.
This is why they gave it a 1 hour and 30-minute estimate, because you never know exactly what can happen. Oh, I just realized, blue 2 is dead on Nal's end, and yellow 2 is essentially dead, so at this point...
Just gotta hope that purple isn't in his mind here, is something he's afraid of after that last choke he had.
Yeah, because as we mentioned, like, you know, it's very easy to get into your own head when you start dying on something you maybe feel like you shouldn't.
By the way, I used the word choke there in the most non-offensive way possible. I know some people like to say that if you choke to something, it means that it wasn't hard. I don't consider that to be the case, but hopefully purple 2 is kind.
So you can see what we mentioned with how it's mostly pretty easy, because the gaps are very large, but because it's random, it can just decide to give you a small gap if you're not in a good spot. Alright, he was ready for the speed up, and now this is also Nal's final chance. They could beat it on the same attempt, which would be pretty sick.
That would definitely be the best outcome here. White phase scares me so much. I've lost so many speedruns
There we
to
go.
it. Unbelievable.
Wow. Wow. Them both finishing on the same attempt, literally within 2 minutes of each other on the win.
Unbelievable.
In a run that's that grueling. Wow.
What a race.
Them both finishing on the same attempt, literally within 2 minutes of each other on the win.
Unbelievable.
In a run that's that grueling. I think Nala unmuted, so he can hear us now, so we're probably echoing maybe.
maybe we should go join them.
Yeah, sure. Let's go talk to the runners. Blue might not say much, but we'll see.
Naloa. GG.
GG.
危ない。
That was so close. Did you know how far ahead you were, Nal? Yeah, you were like significantly further ahead when you reached Len. Yeah, like way ahead. No. But that was insane. That was a really good race. Can't hear Nal. Oh, are you muted on your own stream?
Yeah, I muted myself on my OBS so it wouldn't get double audio or something. Yeah, that was very scary. That game.
The save file menu. I think they want to see your death time.
Oh, yeah, sure. I had a lot of deaths to platforming.
Wait, which one was it? The middle one? Right one? Was it left? But yeah, the platforming was going particularly well for you.
Was?
Yeah.
I noticed
I mean,
a lot of deaths, so...
Man, you didn't even realize the pace you're on, did you?
I mean, I knew I was doing well with the bosses until Len, but...
Did you have a timer up?
I mean, in-game time.
Yeah, you were at about a 36 to Len.
Yeah, I realized I had a chance of being a sub 40 Len. And then I died for about 6 minutes, so... 6 minutes gone on Len.
And Blue final stage was very good, and Len was fast. So he was able to catch up, but finishing within 2 minutes of each other at the end on the same attempt.
Really?
Yeah.
Yep.
Woo!
Blue got a battle 107 flat by my timer, and you got a 108.58 or 9, depending on how I split.
Wow.
So it was too close now. You killed it, dude. And Blue, GG.
Thank you.
Big win.
GG.
GG.
What now?
I don't know. What else is there to say? Death to Purple 2 is sad.
Yeah.
Last boss is all about destination.
Last boss is definitely terrifying, very scary. I mean,
not die to white phase, thank you.
Yeah.
Die to white phase.
I guess now we would say follow the runners. Twitch.tv/Nalois, and Blue is primarily streaming on YouTube, actually. So if someone has his YouTube link readily on hand, that would be much appreciated. Follow both of the runners.
There you go.
Thanks, Nal.
Thanks for letting us do this. Thanks for the run. I hope everyone enjoyed.
Yeah, sorry. It's whoa, sorry. It's unfortunate that we couldn't get the third runner in there, but you know we had essentially the best 1v1 race we could have had anyway. So
yeah, real life gets in the way sometimes.
Yeah, unfortunately. So, Cake, you wanna transition it over?
Yeah, sure. So thanks for watching that race, everybody. Hope you guys had a wonderful time, because I sure did. So up next, we're gonna start preparing for a run of Super Mario 63 with the Gaming 100 and Verdict. So stay tuned. We will be getting that up for you here momentarily. Enjoy the wait. Take a small break. Go get a stretch. I'm probably gonna do that myself, and then we'll be back shortly. So just stay tuned.
Have a good one, everyone, and grats again.